Zane Smith is 5 races into his rookie season in the NASCAR Cup Series, and to say it's been a struggle is an understatement. The 2022 Truck Series champ got a solid 13th place finish in the season opening Daytona 500, but it's been a downhill trajectory since. His best finish, a 29th at Phoenix. His other 3 finishes have been 35th or worse. Despite those struggles, Smith's next race at COTA could be just what the doctor ordered. It's where he got his last NASCAR win, the 2023 truck race, as he went back to back after winning it the year before. I visited with the Spire Motorsports driver about his slow start in 2024, including the one word on his Twitter bio that talks about how he is afraid of such a slow start, as well as numerous other topics, including what it's like working with teammates Carson Hocevar and Corey LaJoie, how he deals with losing on such a frequent basis, and what Cup driver he respects his racecraft the most, and why. I'd like to welcome to the channel, Zane Smith. Hey, Zane, appreciate you joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, I was just looking at your Twitter profile a while ago, and I'm going to start the interview off with one word from your profile: telesphobia. I admit I had to look it up because I didn't know what it meant. So, I looked it up. So, with the fear of being last, how do you get that word and work with that word in the start of your 2024 season?
Yeah, that definition has changed a few times since I feel like I've had it in my bio. But when I originally read it, it was the fear of losing, and it's just I feel like suits me a lot. I hate losing well, and I love winning, and it's just something I had thrown in there years and years ago. But yeah, hopefully we could get back to some winning ways here eventually. I know rookie seasons could be tough, but we definitely have had a tough start, but hope to turn around soon, hopefully this weekend.
You talk about the fear of losing. And so there's the popular saying, if you ain't first, you're last. And when you think about what you guys do, 90% or more, 95% of the time, you lose. So how do you process that? Considering, like you just said, you hate losing more than you do winning. So how do you process that, knowing that 95% of the time you're going to go out and not win?
Yeah, I mean uh, it's definitely tough, especially in the Cup Series, just with how tough it is to consistently win and perform. I feel like, and so I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you surround yourself with the right people off the track and you're preparing for a race weekend and perform to the best of your ability, um, then I feel like you're able to sleep at night knowing you did everything you could. But it's still a team sport, and there's so many areas where you just have to execute on. And yeah, it's a long road to win on Sunday, but hopefully we could shorten up that road sooner or later.
You talked about your team, and I'm really curious about your relationship with Carson because both of you are rookies, both on the same team at Spire this year. I'm just interested in, do you guys get together and talk and can kind of share your experiences, both being rookies, and when you're having struggles like this, can kind of lean on each other and, hey, I understand what you're going through. Do you have that kind of relationship with him?
I mean, not really.
Okay.
I feel like I'm not that type of person. I feel like when it's a rough weekend, it's just kind of a reset on Monday and focus forward on the next weekend. But yeah, I mean, Carson and I get to spend a good bit of time together. Just our off the track training stuff is our schedules align a lot of the time, and then obviously our competition meetings and whatnot, and we get to hang out on a racetrack every weekend. So yeah, it's been cool having another rookie in the building, and I guess getting to bounce our feedback off each other and whatnot. But yeah, it's been good.
Let's talk about your other teammate, Corey LaJoie. He's a veteran. He's been around. I'm curious, kind of, has he been a mentor? What kind of relationship have you had with Corey?
Uh, Good. I feel like Corey's a cool dude and a good teammate and whatnot. So it's cool to hear, I guess, where Spire once was from him
Right.
and what it is now. So it's cool to be a part of it in their growing process. Especially this year has just been a big big step for them, and it's cool to see that it paying off for them on the truck side, especially. But each and every weekend, I feel like, especially on the Cup side. So Sunday's super tough, but they're definitely taking steps in the right direction, and it's cool to, like I said, hear from Corey where they once were.
So we come into this weekend. We've talked about your struggles to start the season, Zane. So we're coming into this weekend where you got your last NASCAR win and you've won 2 consecutive truck races. So I would guess, despite the struggles early on this season, even though it is Cup Series, you would have some level of confidence coming into the weekend at COTA.
Yeah, I mean, I sure hope so. Coda's always been good to me. I always enjoyed the road courses in general, and yeah, hopefully it's our racetrack to just kind of turn our luck around. It would be one thing if we were showing up each and every weekend just sucking, but that hasn't been the case at all. We've actually had really good Focus Tell Chevys, and my team has been doing a great job. It's just circumstances that have really hurt that end result finish, and so hopefully can just put a race together and just have a, like I said, a nice little reset. And I feel like there's no better place to do it than COTA, where, like I said, it's been really good to me in the past.
What you said, you mentioned how you like road courses. What is it about turning right and left that you like?
Yeah, I mean, majority of our weekends we turn left for about 500 miles, so it's cool to do something a little different. But for me, it falls into the category of what I grew up doing, and so just road racing is my background. I've always enjoyed it, and I feel like it's one of my strong suits. And so you just have that extra little bit of confidence in a way. But when you're always going to a place that every driver has a different track where they really enjoy, and for me, it's just road courses, and so it just makes you a little bit more excited on road course weeks for me.
So I know there's been conversation about trying to get higher profile for the Cup Series drivers and basically trying to say what you guys do, how difficult it is. So how do you convey as a driver the difficulty of driving 190 miles an hour around a bunch of cars that are driving 190 miles an hour, and compare it to like something like someone understands how hard it is and difficult it is to hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball? So how do you convey that? Because most people can go to a batting cage and swing at a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. No one can get in a car and do maybe a ride along, but you're not doing that. It's not competitive. So how do you convey the challenges of being a NASCAR Cup Series driver?
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to explain, just because, like you said, you can't go up the road to the local sports store and go buy a race car. So
Right.
it's really hard to understand and to put into perspective. But what I always try to explain to the NASCAR and in the top 3 tier series, especially on Sunday, is that there's a ton of drivers, or the dirt world, the road course world, or growing up racing on ovals. It's a lot of kids that are growing up trying to make it to typically the top 3 tier series. And where it's really tough is every year it seems like whether it's baseball, football, basketball, there's new players that are drafted or put onto that team. Well, in NASCAR, it's similar to golf in a way, to where there's a different ages all throughout it, and so there's 40 of I look at the best drivers in the world, and that's what's on Sunday, and so it's just really hard to get a spot at the table. But I guess explaining the race car is everyone is extremely good. We're not just turning left. If it was that easy, I feel like anyone could do it.
Right.
But we're getting feedback. We're on trying to make our car better. We are splitting razor thin margins on where we need to run, where basically a tenth of a second could put you in the top 10 or from 25th to 40th. And so that's where it becomes really difficult. And then obviously on the physical side that people don't really understand is that these cars are not easy to drive. We're
Right.
using 500-600 pounds of brake pressure, and especially this weekend, and and there's different just driving techniques for one, and then obviously the heat of the car is what typically stands out to people, whether it gets up to 130 or so degrees. Um, and people lose sometimes up to 10 pounds in races. And so um, it's 38 weekends straight. We never have a home game. We're always traveling. It's a
Right.
massive grind, the shortest off season in any professional sports. Um, it's wild, and it's a brutal sport, but definitely very fortunate to be here.
That's a great description. I have kudos to you for that, because that was way more
Thanks.
in depth than I thought I was going to get. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I could go on and on, but I guess that at the end of the day, it only matters to the people that kind of understand it and want to know about it.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Last question for you, Zane. Give me a Cup Series driver that you admire their racecraft and why?
Uh, yeah, I mean, for me, Jimmy Johnson is one that just a 7-time champion that has always stood out. Of I feel like every driver probably wants to be one day. I don't know many that would just turn down 7 championships. I'm not wanting to do that, but or accomplish that. Racecraft wise, I don't know. I've always respected Kyle Busch. I feel like growing up racing with him and just appreciating his talent and what he's accomplished and how he races others. I've always looked up to.
Very good. Thanks, Zane. I really appreciate your time. Hopefully you can get things turned around on a track that you've had some success on in the past. I wish you the best of luck this weekend at COTA.
Thank you.
Take care.
You as well.